I did believe that my self-worth was directly tied to what I could do for other people. And that if I was good to other people, then that meant I was a good person. And what I now know from really making self-care my priority is that I've had it here inside me all along. And so do you. Number 5, once you have a self-care state of mind, you create a routine that serves your needs and your goals. You're no longer rushing from fire to fire to fire and obligation to obligation to obligation and being exhausted at the end of the day. You become more in control of what you do with your time. If every morning for the last, I don't know how many years of your life, you've got up and fixed your partner, your kids' lunch for their day, and if in your mind you're like, Jesus, I just wish I had a minute to myself. Well, guess what? When you start making self-care the priority and you really have cultivated that self-care state of mind, when you wake up on Monday, you won't automatically make their lunches if you don't want to. You can tell them, hey, I need you to be in charge of your lunch because the mornings are for me. I need my me time to drink my coffee and do my journal and plan my day or, read my book or whatever it is that you want as a part of your daily life routine, your habits. And that's so important, friends. If you feel like you don't have any control over your life or your time, this is how you get it. Number 6, when you have a self-care state of mind, you start giving yourself permission to feel whatever it is you're feeling. You don't start questioning it. So if you're sad and you need to cry it out and you just feel the weight of the world, you don't hide that or tuck that away. When you have a self-care state of mind, you allow yourself to be sad. And you know how to process through it. You give yourself that space. You recognize, oh, I'm feeling kind of depressed. Maybe I need to go get some sunshine or some tea, or maybe I need a nap. But it's really important that you understand that once you have really nailed the self-care stuff, you start allowing yourself to feel and not making excuses and not pretending that's not how you feel. You become more honest and you're more authentic. Because when you're angry, you say you're angry. And you allow it. You allow it and you deal with it. Instead of pretending everything's okay, I'm fine, you're fine, we're fine, I'll just keep going, I'll keep doing and doing and doing. And then you run yourself into the ground. And if you're sick of that, then you better get a self-care plan in practice this weekend. Don't wait till Monday. Don't wait until all the laundry's done. Do it now. Number 7, when you have a self-care state of mind, you take control of your own thoughts. So this goes back to what I was saying before. Once you've said to yourself, okay, I deserve to take care of myself. I'm in charge of how I feel. I'm going to let myself feel how I feel. I'm going to give myself what I need when I need it. You start recognizing the thoughts that are contradicting. And you start to see examples of people resisting that. And you make the decision, you make the choice to ride that train where it's going, or to stop the train and just say, I get off. I'm getting off here. I don't want to be on this train anymore. You control whether or not you're going to allow yourself to think shitty thoughts about yourself. You drop the marinara on the floor and you start to beat yourself up, and that becomes, now I have to do all the laundry and make all the lunches and food prep for weeks, and that's the only way I can make up for this huge mistake. And it's just this spiral. But when you cultivate a self-care state of mind, you take control of that thought. And you think, you drop the marinara and you're like, oh, dang it. Well, gotta clean that up. And you move on. And when you do start to have these negative thoughts, or when you do start to feel unworthy, or when you do start to let a narcissist take over, you definitely can tell those thoughts are coming up, and you decide, is that really something I want to be thinking right now? And that's what self-care really does for you. It allows you to see that contrast. Number 8, as you develop a self-care state of mind, you become proud of yourself. And you can literally eliminate dysmorphia. And for some of us, you start to see yourself for the first time, because people can tell you how beautiful you are and how incredibly creative and talented and amazing you are. But if you don't believe it, if you don't see it, it doesn't matter. It'll never feel good to you. But if you really start doing self-care and you start thinking about little ways you can be better to yourself, you start to feel more proud of yourself. And you start to see the good that you're doing. And you start to see yourself in a different light. And that's what self-care can do for you. It can change your perspective. It's not complicated and it's not a lot of work. It just takes consistently making yourself the priority. It takes consistently putting yourself first and cultivating this self-care state of mind. Number 9, you really do. You stop doubting yourself. So like I said before, you stop asking for other people's advice. You stop doubting whether or not you did the right thing. And you know in your heart that what you need is a priority. And if mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. And that's a saying for a reason. You have to take care of you. It is your job. And when you don't, you become a burden to everyone else around you. I'm pleading with you not to make the same mistake I've made, where you burn people out because you constantly need and crave their affirmation of you. It's no way to be, and it's so unfulfilling in comparison to that real, genuine self-care and self-love that you're in control of giving yourself. That's what cultivating a self-care state of mind can do for you. And last but not least, the most important thing that it can do for you is that you experience the freedom of no longer being a victim to what you can't control, and no longer being dependent on other people's opinion of you to feel worthy. And you're no longer in that hamster wheel of doing things for other people to make them like you so that you can feel like a good person. Because friends, you are a good person. You deserve to feel good and to have happiness and joy. And the best way to get that is to stop whatever manic cycle you're in and give yourself some self-care. Whether it's tiny things or big things, it's up to you to figure it out. I'm just here to give you permission and tell you that once you do put some effort in and you start figuring it out and you have these little wins, your whole perspective will change and you begin to really fall in love. Fall in love with your life, fall in love with yourself, and fall in love with what you're doing with your time and how you help others. Because right now, if you're grinding and you feel less than worthy and you feel like there's just something wrong with you and you don't have any control over what's happening, I'm throwing you the rope, and the rope is covered in self-care. Get yourself a nice piece of chocolate. Get yourself a massager. A personal massager, one for the chair or one of those sickle-shaped ones that you use for yourself. New Renaissance has them. Get yourself some essential oils. Buy yourself a new pair of tennis shoes. For God's sakes, woman, buy yourself a new bra. Whatever you can do to really cultivate the self-care. And one last final point here. I want to make sure that you understand that buying yourself things is not exactly self-care. Because I know a lot of my pals out there, right, who are good at shopping on Amazon and getting themselves little treats, but that does not exactly equal self-care. It equals self-care if you say to yourself, hey, what do I really want right now? What do I need? What's going to help me feel better? You get that thing, you utilize it, and then you say, yay, what can I do for myself today? So it goes from buying yourself something to taking action. You can't do one without the other. That's unbalanced. And you're not going to get to this place, these wonderful examples I've given you of what happens when you do cultivate a self-care state of mind. It's not a state of acquiring things, it's the way you think. All right, friends, thank you so much for listening to me today. Thank you for joining me. If you have a story you'd like to share and you want to be on the show, please email me. It's Kris, Kris, at selfcareissexy.com. Okay, we've got some really great stuff coming your way, including an episode about self-care post-election, and we've actually got some interviews coming up. I'm really excited. So remember that self-care is sexy. We're giving you permission to put yourself first.